Meghan Markle is less Martha Stewart, more Maria Antoinette in her new Out of Touch Netflix show with Love Meghan. This is from Decider.com, which regularly they review television shows. It's not a typical royal commentary website.
Things just got heated. Royal experts are clashing over Meghan Markle's latest Netflix project, calling it vulgar and a desperate grab for fame. One even said she's abandoning the crown for the camera. Let's get into this explosive royal showdown.
You said that you didn't mind it, is what I interpreted. Is that the correct reaction, that you didn't mind the show?
I didn't mind it at all. In fact, I found it rather pleasant, very, very gentle, nice wallpaper. It was pretty. It really annoys me when people have commented after, well, the pylon of criticisms annoyed me. But people said, well, where was the substance? Where was the substance? This is a lifestyle show. It's frilly, it's frothy, it's pleasant. Oh, it's like sitting there having honey dribble in your mouth. I mean, what do you expect? What kind of substance? And I was pleasantly surprised. I watched it because I was doing a radio interview about it immediately afterwards. I've only watched the first one. And I thought, well, this is quite interesting. I even picked up one or two little tips, It was interesting to watch Meghan making candles, which she hadn't done before. I thought it was most interesting. You have bath bombs, and if you put a bath bomb in, you get all that stuff that comes out of it, all the flowery bits and everything gets stuck down your plug hole, and you've got to clean the bath. Well, she decided to put all those bits and pieces in a little bag, little tea bag with a ribbon, and put that in your bath. That's quite clever, isn't it? So I don't understand why everyone in the media seems to have decided to say it's absolutely the worst thing ever on television. I thought it was quite charming. Good on her.
Meghan's new Netflix series just dropped a teaser, and it's already lighting up the press. From bold fashion to unscripted drama, critics are calling it anything but royal. One headline read, "Hollywood, not Windsor."
You spent a lot more time than most people with Princess Diana, which of course I'm very, very envious of. Can you imagine Diana doing something like this, or is this not necessarily the path she would have gone down?
No, I don't think Diana would have done anything like this. Not because it was beneath her, but because she had different. She did have rather more serious ideas and campaigns, perhaps. But this is what Meghan Markle, as she was good at before she met Harry. I mean, she was an influencer. She was a stylist or a lifestyle guru. She was doing very well, and she's gone back, as she says, to her roots. Why are we knocking her? Why are people making all these unpleasant headlines and knocking her? I just think, I think it's become quite cruel.
What about Fergie? Because Fergie's kind of spent time in that space. Could you see her doing something similar?
Oh yeah, I think I could. Yeah, absolutely. She has spent time in that space. She is a rather frothier character than perhaps Diana was in as Diana grew up. I mean, I went to Angola with Diana, and she really enjoyed the fact. Well, enjoyed a difficult world, but she got right into the facts of that very, very difficult trip. She wanted to make a difference in a completely different field. But I just think Meghan has shown that she is good at what she's doing, and we should say, well, you just get on with it. If you don't like Meghan, don't watch it. If you don't want to know any lifestyle tips, go and watch something else.
There are plenty of other options on Netflix. Duncan, did you? I have a very hard time visualizing you on a sofa sitting through With Love Meghan. So be honest with me. Did you do this? Did you watch With Love Meghan?
I respect Jenny Bond. I could barely disagree with her more. I mean, the reason that Meghan has got this show is because she sat down on a sofa and accused the British royal family of racism, and then followed up with a whole load of truth bombs. She's there puffing around about love and kindness and friendship and family, and yet she's estranged from everybody in her family apart from her mother. And since Harry has married her, he is now estranged from everybody in his family. I mean, come on. Nobody needs to know tips about making beeswax candles or pretty average looking cakes and a cup of tea from Meghan. This is just brand Meghan. It's what she's been after. She's wanted to be famous all her life, and now it's finally come along, and she's just milking it. And best respect to Jenny Bond. Obviously, you have your opinions, and you know you're welcome to them, but absolutely nonsense. What a stomach bile enduring load of nonsense her shows are. They are awful.
I do
No,
appreciate the fact that you were so generous to Jenny, because that could have gotten ugly, but you did continuously remind us that she is a rock star. So I want to say thank you for that. Now, Jenny, do you feel at all like this was a PR exercise and the objective was to discredit some of the rumors that have circulated, starting with the Telegraph's Valentine Lowe piece about bullying allegations that premiered right before the Oprah Winfrey interview? And then most recently in September, we had the Hollywood Reporter article that interviewed 12 employees, past and present, of Harry and Meghan. And in the Vanity Fair piece that was in January, they mentioned some unflattering stories as well. If you were sitting in a room with her and a publicist, can you imagine that a discussion that might take place is, let's reintroduce you, let's tell the people who you are, and that this might be a way to do that?
But what exactly is so controversial about the show? Well, let's break it down. Longtime royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams didn't hold back, calling the show vulgar, flashy, and an insult to the dignity of the monarchy.
No, I think if I was sitting with her, I'd say, gosh, you've got this great Netflix contract. You've got to fulfill it. What are you good at? Oh, that's what you're good at? Yeah, why don't we do that? Make some money, which is the prime objective, and see how it goes down. And that's what she's doing. She's earning her living. They left here to become financially independent. So she needs to do something, and she's doing it. She's doing it, in my humble opinion, really rather sweetly.
Oh, Jenny Bond. Jenny Bond came today with her boxing gloves, but also hugs. And I really appreciate that about her. Duncan, talk to me about the idea of changing public perception. It doesn't sound like from what you've seen, if you were not a Meghan Markle fan before, this would change your mind.
Well, look, I mean, I'm coming from this from the angle of somebody who got to know Prince Harry over the years. And we've talked about this before, Kinsey. I mean, you know, what does Meghan think she's trying to do? What is she trying to achieve? She's just trying to make herself famous and milk that fame. And you heard her I heard her in that series actually correcting somebody, saying, no, I'm not Meghan Markle, I'm the Duchess of Sussex. It's vulgar. It's manipulative, it's unnecessary, and I'm not surprised that it's being absolutely panned by the critics, because frankly, if I need to know how to make a cake, I'll ask my 12-year-old daughter, who's cooked far better cakes than the looks of Meghan's one, in her home economics class at school.
Jenny, I have to ask you about that moment between Meghan Markle and Mindy Kaling, where Mindy is super funny and super sweet. And she said, people won't believe that Meghan Markle ate Jack in the Box or loved Jack in the Box, something to that effect. And Meghan replies, so funny you should say that. I'm Megan Sussex now. Can you talk to me about protocol, which I think we could all agree Harry and Meghan have thrown out the window in some way, shape, or form. But is Meghan Markle's last name, as a member of the British royal family, Megan Sussex, or is it a title that evolves? Because it's my understanding that Princess Diana was the Princess of Wales. Technically, Queen Camilla at one point was the Princess of Wales, even though she opted not to utilize that. Now Catherine is the Princess of Wales. I was under the impression that titles evolved. And on Archie and Lily's birth certificate, their last name was initially Mountbatten Windsor. Is Meghan making a choice to adopt this as her last name? And that's a choice, or does protocol dictate that she is Megan Sussex? Do you know? Is that a relevant question?
Meanwhile, Angela Levin says Meghan is obsessed with being famous and doesn't care who she alienates. On the other side, some defenders argue Meghan is just modernizing the royal image and telling her story.
Based on
yes, I think it is. It was rather pointed the way she did. She bridled a bit, didn't she, when she was called Meghan Markle? And I think it would have been much kinder. And I do slightly criticise her for this, in that I think she could have just said, "Oh, hang on, let's stop the filming. Oh, Mindy, actually, my surname's Sussex." I thought, she could have done that. That would have been a better way of doing it. However, having said that, it's quite complicated, really. If you think, yes, Diana wasn't known as Diana Wales, but she was the Princess of Wales, and similarly Camilla, similarly Catherine. But the children, I mean, George and Charlotte and Louis were, first of all, Cambridge, because they were the Duchess of Cambridge. So it was George Cambridge. Now it's Wales. At school they're known as Wales, George Wales, Charlotte Wales. As for I know. And of course, in the military, it was Harry. Harry was known as Captain Wales, and similarly, William had the surname Wales. But the correct surname, or the one on the birth certificate, is Mountbatten Windsor. You can see it is quite complicated. Yes. It's a matter of choice, really. And yet, you think of Duchess of Edinburgh, Sophie. We've called her for years, because she was the Duchess of Sussex, Countess of Sussex. We called her Sophie Wessex.
Yes.
So, you pays your money, you takes your choice. She's done absolutely nothing wrong by saying that she wants to be known as Sussex. And I can get it. Some women like to take on their husband's name and their children to have the same name. I don't get it. I'm a feminist. Actually, I thought Meghan was too.
Me too, yeah. Jenny Bond. Me too.
Yeah, I mean, why change your name? My husband's name isn't Bond. If it was, he'd be James Bond. But he's actually...
He should have changed his last name when he married you.
I gave him the choice, but I wasn't going to change mine. Why should you? However, she's perfectly within her rights to say that the family name is Sussex.
Okay, Duncan, I want to ask you something about something Richard Eden claimed just today. He said that his palace insiders commented that Meghan, that scene being left in the final series, because Meghan is the executive producer, was clearly a warning shot. Richard Eden says, one palace source told me, confirming that Meghan seemed to be making a very public point of emphasizing how much the title meant to her, and by implication to Harry. Do you have a response to that?
Yeah, well, I do, and Jenny would have to agree with me on this, whether she likes it or not. The last thing you'll ever find a member of the royal family do is to actually correct a member of the public or somebody that they're on air with. I mean, Prince William, back in the day, I said, what do I call you? And I had a Jack Wills, it's a designer, cheap designer top on, it said Wills on it. He said, well, you can call me that, it's on your shirt. They take this with modesty. They don't use it as weapons. They don't use it as, oh, I've got to take you to one side here and say, look, actually, I'm the Duchess of Sussex. It's vulgar. It's unpleasant. And frankly, I think Meghan, she'll always be Meghan Markle in my eyes. I don't, the title that was bequeathed on her by the Queen and her husband, I mean, I don't think she deserves it. And I frankly wish that I wish that the royal family would strip her of that title, because she's cashing in on it, and it's disgusting.
On her terms. One thing's for sure, Meghan's Netflix gamble has everyone talking. Whether it's royal disgrace or Hollywood triumph, the world is watching, and the royal experts, they're just getting started. Thanks for tuning in, and get ready, because the next episode of Royal Drama is just around the corner.